gave my ex countless rub and tugs. Actually, I did count, it was 47.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing fantastic. Today is the long-awaited Awkward Season 2 video. Yes. Hold for applause. Thank you. I'm so sorry this video took too long. My life is brazy right now. When I say brazy, also my laptop completely crashed on me, so I'm having to like go around and borrow things and pay for things to make this work. If you'd like to follow me on my social medias, it will be on the screen. Molasses on everything. Actually, before I begin, I painted this. I'm still in shock. Yeah, she's an artist. Look out, I will be starting an art business soon. I'm being so dead ass. Go follow Go follow my art Instagram if you would like to support me on there and just to have more like live updates and stuff like that. It is Shalami Sketches. It'll be on the screen and down in the description. I love you so much. And here is the Awkward Season 2 video part 1. So in my last Awkward video, we were introduced to the residents of Palos Hills. If you would like to, have a recap on season 1, if you've forgotten, that will be in the little title card. It'll be somewhere in the screen if I don't forget. Yeah, go check out that video if you want a little, well, I say little, the video's over an hour long, I think, but we love long form content, don't we? So before we get into the episodes, I would like to introduce you to the residents of Palos Hills. This is Jenna Hamilton. She is the protagonist of the show. This girl is so annoying. This show is very obviously inspired by Twilight, right? And it's giving inspired by Twilight. This is Lacey, her mother, who wrote her the legendary confrontation letter in the last season. We'll be dealing with the fallout from that in this season, don't you worry. This is Kevin, who is married to Lacey. This is Tamara, her bestie, who lied that she wrote the confrontation letter last season. She obviously didn't. She was just really mad at Jenna for kissing her crush booty fucking shorts. We'll get to him in a sec. Ming, she is the beautiful third of the 3 girls who are besties at Palos Hills. This is Allie, Lacey's best friend and Jenna's aunt. Jenna, who she only refers to as Lil Bitch. It's very, very annoying and nobody says anything about it. Everybody just bullies this girl and nobody bats an eye except for Tamara and Ming. And for that, I love them. Anyways, this here is the first boy that Jenna is sort of torn between. His name is Matty McKibben. He is the resident playboy at Palos Hills High. He's a bit of a jerk. He's a huge jerk. So Matty McKibben was embarrassed of Jenna. He didn't want to be seen with her. So she was in love with him. He didn't make any moves until Jenna got with Jake Rosati, Matty's best friend, but he's so cute, so caring. He's misogynistic in his own way, but he's still a very, very sweet, very caring guy who wanted Jenna. He claimed her immediately and they started dating. Sadie Saxton is the mean girl at Palos Hills High. She just hates Jenna for one reason or another. She also has a crush on Matty, which goes very much unrequited. So she stays kind of besties with him. This is Lissa and she is not very smart. There's not a lot going on in here. She is also a Christian. Do you see what I did here? Right here is Lissa cosplay. Yeah, you get it. So Lissa is Sadie's best friend. She is Jake's ex. He broke up with her because she was also joining Sadie to ruin Jenna's life. Next is Val. She was the quirky school counselor. Last person we really need to know about, honestly, like additional side supporting character. I'm actually mad at my past self for putting him on here, but this is Ricky Schwartz. You will hear me refer to him as Booty Schwartz in this whole video because I don't like the man. I don't like him at all. He's so irritating. His face irritates me. I'm so sorry to the actor, but like you really slid into that grimy, disgusting man role. I love that for you and I love that you got your bag out of that, but I fucking hate your character. Anywho, this is Ricky Schwartz and he spends the whole of season 1 playing Tamara, telling her that he has all these feelings for her. Meanwhile, he is gallivanting around the town, cheating on Tamara. Those are the residents of Palos Hills High that you really need to know. Those are the people that I will be mainly talking about. To episode 1. we enter and we see Jenna immediately reeling from the confrontation letter that her mother wrote in season 1. Her new boyfriend Jake sends her a friend request on this Facebook-like app they're using. I don't know the name. Friendster? Let's call it Friendster. I think that exists in real life. Jake sends her a request on Friendster to make their status as a couple online official. She's absolutely over the moon, but she doesn't accept the request quite yet. The family's unwrapping presents and we learn Jenna hasn't confronted her mom about the confrontation letter yet. In fact, Jenna has told no one, including her besties Tamara and Ming. So for Christmas, Lacey gifts Jenna a diamond necklace and Kevin gifts Jenna a fuck off massive box of condoms. What is with this show and comically large items? Like, remember that insanely large jar of painkillers that Jenna broke that caused her arm to break in the first season? What is up with that? I do love it though. It's very camp. Jenna is blogging away preparing for a New Year's Eve party when she gets a post on her blog. That may sound normal, but Jenna's blog is private. Who the fuck is this? Jenna brushes it off and decides, I'm gonna get to this party, right? Right. Maddie is there and obviously things are a little awkward. Jenna and Maddie have not seen each other since the last season when he showed up to the dance thinking, okay, I'm finally ready to show my feelings publicly about Jenna, but she was already there dancing with Jake, her date. Lissa goes up to Jenna to confess her sins and apologize for everything she did to her in the past. Jenna thankfully quickly escapes and Sadie quickly takes this opportunity to confront Lissa. See, Lissa still has not forgiven her for her wrongdoings in the past, insulting Lissa, manipulating Lissa into doing really bad things to people that she cared about. In fact, Lissa blames Sadie for her breakup with Jake. Lissa still hasn't forgiven her and she leaves. Good for her. Jenna and Maddie are talking later and she starts to apologize for what happened at the dance. She's like, I understand that must have been awkward for you. Even though the whole thing was his fault. He was the one who took his sweet motherfucking time to ask her to the dance. You snooze, you lose. I'm getting really heated up. I don't know why. Maddie wants another chance with Jenna, even though she came to the party with his literal best friend. To be absolutely fair, Maddie doesn't know that Jake and Jenna are an item yet, but Maddie's like, oh, I'll just let Jake know and he'll understand that I was with you first. She's not yours. She's not your property. Ugh. I find this I was with you first thing so strange because she can make her decisions for herself. She's not a toy. You don't get to claim her just because you saw her first. Fucked around for ages because you were embarrassed of her and only made a move when it was too late. Later, Tam is hanging out with a certified loser boy, Booty Schwartz, who lied to her that he was with his grandmother at New Year's Eve because she was sick when in actuality he was with a girl at a party. Later, Jake asks Jenna why she hasn't accepted his relationship status request, and she dodges the question and meets up with Lissa, who is still trying to beg for her forgiveness. So Lissa asks Jenna to slap her so that they can be even. She says no, but Tam slaps Ricky, not falling for his trickery, and I love that for her. Jenna goes out for some air and sees Val in the front of the house. Val called her earlier for moral support, but she had absolutely no idea that Val would actually show up to the party. Actually, she should have known. That is a very Val thing to do. Val got stood up and she's super upset. Jenna gives her advice to call her man because he might not be lying and he might have actually had a reason for not showing up, you know? And Jenna is able to go back to the party with Jake. Hiding in another room are Sadie and Maddie. And Maddie's sad because of Jenna. Boo-hoo. Sadie's like, I don't want to hear it. I've had a crush on you forever. How the fuck have you not noticed? Both drunk, Maddie and Sadie start hooking up mid the shenanigans, clothes half off. Sadie realizes that Maddie has fallen asleep. So Tam actually ends up forgiving Ricky Schwartz. Coincidentally, at this time, Sadie picks the first boy she sees, Ricky, and she makes out with him. Uh-oh, Sadie is about to get bitch slapped. Jenna and Jake are about to leave the party, but not before Jenna gives Lissa that legendary slap that she was so desperately begging for. Back at home, Jenna finally accepts Jake's relationship status and also decides to go public with her blog. Oh my god, that reminds me when I was in high school, someone would look at me the wrong way and I would go straight home and private my YouTube channel. What the fuck was that about? At the end of the episode, Jenna finally informs her mother via letter that she knows. She knows that it was her that was the author of the confrontation letter. At school the next day, the students of Palos Hills learned that there has been a security camera pointed at the sanctuary for an undisclosed amount of time. Now, if you don't know, the sanctuary is a spot. It's very dingy, very disgusting. Spot at Palos Hills High where the students go to hook up, do drugs, very scandalous stuff. What the fuck are you guys doing? Go to class. Your parents are paying for that shit. Now, Jenna's freaking out because her and Maddie used to hook up at the sanctuary. Also, there are absolutely no responsible adults at Palos Hills High. So a student was able to steal the footage. I need y'all to make like Olivia Pope and shut that shit the fuck down. Shut it down. Where are the police? Where are the police? Jenna and Maddie freaking out that their tapes might be released. Jake is freaking out about the fact that he just found out that Jenna has hooked up with other guys. He just gets really anxious and wants to know who the guy is, which, you know, you can back up a little bit. So the principal of the school, instead of calling the police or even an IT department, he goes straight to Valerie Marks. No shade against my girl, but Valerie, instead of telling Jake about her and Maddie, Jenna decides that she's going to take the Asian Mafia route. The Asian Mafia is a group of students at Palos Hills, generally wealthy and well-connected, who just always know everything and can somehow predict the future. So Jenna decides to use Ming as an end to the Asian Mafia because apparently she's incapable of talking to Asian people herself. Do you know what? I've actually been told by another person of color, they're like, oh, I just don't know how to talk to black people. She was drunk, which is why she said this. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're talking to me right now. Just be normal. Very interesting. Very interesting. People are weird. Anyways, Ming agrees to have lunch with the mafia to find out all she can about the sanctuary tapes. Straight away, Ming goes to introduce herself to the Asian Mafia, and they already know everything about her. She's talking to this girl named Becca, and she literally knows her full name, her parents' names, what they do, where she lives. Why do you know that, little girl? Becca tells Ming that she'll see what the mafia can do before handing her the answers to the next day's history test. Because, and I quote, "You have been making us look bad." At home for dinner, Lacey made all of Jenna's favorite foods in an attempt to beg for her forgiveness. But then Jenna's like, so do you want to tell him? Referring to her dad, Kevin. Lacey doesn't and give this whole sob story to Jenna, showing once again that she isn't very considerate of Jenna's feelings. She goes on to say, I was only trying to help you. What do you mean? Lacey, y'all need to stock up on parenting books. Y'all need to clear a room and build some shelves and stock up on parenting books, because both Kevin and Lacey's reaction to how Jenna is as a person, while Kevin's is more detached, it's not any better than Lacey's. So Jenna stands up for herself and she's like, I don't care, and if you don't tell him, I will. I always love that line. Another day at Palos Hills High, and it has descended into chaos. The students are crying, screaming, fighting over the looming leaked tapes. This is so traumatic. Imagine going to a school like this. Oh my god. Jenna tells Ming that she's decided to tell Jake and that the Asian Mafia can halt their search attempts. Ming goes to tell Becca, who's like, no takebacks, you will get those tapes. Jake and Maddie are in the locker rooms, and Jake reveals that the reason he's been obsessing over the guy that Jenna slept with is because she said that she was in love with him. And obviously this guy is Maddie, and straight away you can see Maddie's pupils dilate because he was not aware of this. This boy then goes up to Jenna and tells her that he loves her. And before she can respond, he runs off. This, you know, is clearly an attempt to ruin any chance that Jenna has of moving forward, moving on with Jake. Jake and Jenna are in his car later, and he reveals that he's jealous of this guy that she slept with and is in love with, or was in love with. Jenna's clearly still thinking about the bomb that Maddie just dropped. Jake is so sweet, and he tells her that he knows he shouldn't be jealous. He acknowledges that it's in the past, tells Jenna that he doesn't even want to, sorry. Like, I spelled doesn't in the script. Anyways, Jake tells Jenna that he doesn't even want to know who the guy is anymore, and they choose to move on. And I completely respect that, but this is not an informed decision. I think Jenna, knowing that that is his best friend, you should tell him anyways. I think he has the right to know. I think that is a point that can be argued upon, because at the end of the day, it is Jenna's business, and her and Maddie were never ever official. Honestly, what do you guys think? Seriously, tell me in the comments, because I'm not sure about that. When speaking to Tamara later, she gets scolded for not telling Jake that it was Maddie. Tam is really mad at her because she's like, the truth is gonna get out eventually, so you might as well just tell him. And Jenna's still really frustrated at the fact that Maddie dropped the L-bomb now of all times. Another day at school, Becca gives Ming the tape. mysteriously knowing that it was for Jenna. She tells her that the only interesting thing on it is Principal Cox hooking up with someone, so Jenna's not on it. Becca tells Ming that now she owes her. Before Ming can even get the tape to Jenna, Val snatches it and gives it to the principal, blackmailing him, asking him for a promotion, which he ends up giving to her. And so she goes from counselor to vice principal. I love her work ethic. I really, really do. She's kooky, but maybe there is something going on in there. Ming goes to tell Becca that she lost the tape, and Becca's like, oh, that was the plan. Immediately, Principal Cox announces that Valerie is the new vice principal. This was all planned out by the mafia because the old vice principal was trying to stop the mafia from using visitors' parking spots. So they literally took someone's livelihood away because of something little like that. And Ming is officially afraid. Ming goes to sit down with Tam and Jenna. Finally, Jenna can breathe that she knows that she is not on the tape, and Ming realizes that she may have just been inducted into the Asian mafia. Soon, Jenna gets a text from Maddie to meet him at the sanctuary. Maddie wanted to inform her that she knows they're not on the tape. Maddie was clearly expecting a reaction to his "I love you" from earlier, but Jenna gives him pepper. She's like, I'm sorry, I like Jake. Jake who's not embarrassed of me. Jake who doesn't make me feel bad about myself. Jake who's more than happy to hold my hand in public. And, you know, Maddie does look very empathetic to this. He's like, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. And Jenna leaves. Good girl, for once she doesn't take the bait. Upon advice from her mystery blog reader, Jenna tells her mom that she won't tell Kevin about the letter, as it isn't her secret to tell. Lacey thanks her, but she is still clearly very, very disappointed in her mother. And when Jenna leaves, Lacey decides to tell him anyways. Jenna texts Jake to come over and tells him that she's no longer in love with the other guy. At assembly, Jenna actively avoids Maddie, but not for long because he comes to sit next to her and Jake and holds her leg. Back up. No self-respect, no loyalty, no dignity. The new vice principal, Val, walks in and immediately starts roasting the students to introduce them to Anti-Bullying Awareness Week. She announces that anyone caught bullying that week will be disciplined and given a Scarlet B. And I know that references a grand fictional literary work. I believe it's called The Scarlet Letter. I'm sorry I haven't read it. But all I can think of is my girl Emma Stone. Emma Stone! We get a very, very questionable dance number from Tamara's dance team. Sadie's reaction gets her the first ever Scarlet B given out in history. Kind of iconic, actually.
Way to show off the honey pot, ladies.
I got my brand new Timbs.
The dance is ruined when Tam catches Booty Schwartz making out with a girl in the bleachers, and she has a public meltdown. Girl, let that man go. So after assembly, Maddie continues to be a clinger on, and he invites both Jenna and Jake to have lunch with him, and then he leaves, but not before slapping Jenna's ass. Alright, Maddie leaves, and Jake suggests that Maddie's strange behavior is because he's depressed. What does one have to do with the other? Later, Jenna and Tam are sitting outside of Val's office because of Tamara's behavior earlier, and Tam tells Jenna that Maddie's not depressed. He's probably just sad and feels like his best friend's being stolen away from him, which I think is giving him a little too much grace in my opinion. Tam also says that she also feels like her best friend's being stolen away because Jenna has been obviously spending a lot more time with Jake, and that's honestly, it's understandable on her part. Valerie, this face card, Lord have mercy. Valerie's introducing Tamara to the new, very chirpy counselor. Val clearly doesn't like her. Anyways, in this meeting, she's playing both VP and counselor while trying to process Tam's meltdown. As a punishment, she makes Tam do a 5K run walk and sign people up during lunch. On a mission to no longer make Matthew McKibben feel like a third wheel, Jenna starts doing weird shit. At home during dinner, it's just Lacey and Jenna. We learned that it's been this way for a while because Kevin has been avoiding Lacey, and honestly, fair, but you also have a daughter who you've kind of abandoned, who you're also avoiding as well. She needs you, especially now. Like, this whole thing had to do with her. So, like, why are you not comforting your daughter? Due to Lacey's guilt, she buys Kevin a hot tub.
You bought that a hot tub? It's for the whole family to enjoy.
On the phone with Jenna, Tam tells her that she now thinks Maddie is trying to home wreck the relationship. She says this because she was trying to do the same thing with Booty Schwartz, and I've just gotta say, whoever wrote this fucking character, when I find you, it's on site. This man has been terrorizing my screen for a decade now. I'm sick of it. Can somebody edit this man out of the show? please. Jenna invites Jake over, but surprise, Maddie's there as well. Jake tells Jenna that Maddie invited himself, and she realizes that he is indeed trying to sabotage their relationship. The trip is interrupted when Kevin jumps a fence and asks to speak to Jenna. Then Kevin tries to leave, and Jenna stops him and tells him, hey, you need to get rid of Maddie. So Kevin, genius Kevin, decides, what's the best way to get rid of these teenage boys? I'm going to get into the hot tub and piss inside it. Yes, you heard me correctly. Why would you do that? Anyways, Lacey gets home and Kevin tells Lacey to get rid of the hot tub. He doesn't want it. At school the next day, Tam is still trying to get signatures, but has now turned towards fueling her Ricky Short hate.
I'm here if you think Ricky Schwartz is a douche.
For some reason, Sadie wants to help Tam and tells her to start an anonymous hate account as it doesn't leave a paper trail. Notably, Sadie now has 2 scarlet bees. She's also realized that if she makes Lissa jealous, she will probably come crawling back. John is now trying to get rid of Maddie by being extra physical with Jake. Jake continues to be super in tune with Jenna as he knows that she's being super affectionate to get rid of Maddie, although Jake thinks it's because she doesn't like Maddie. After school, Kevin tells Jenna that he'll be staying with his grandparents for a few days. Coward. You are not the victim here. Jenna is furious he's trying to leave and tells him, quote, my life isn't ruined. I'm fine. But you will ruin it if you leave me alone with a bully. Unquote. And that is obviously referring to her mother. The next day at school, Jenna has had enough. She goes off at Maddie, telling him to stop hanging out with her and Jake and trying to seduce her. Maddie goes on to tell her that he doesn't even want to be there and it would be a lot easier if she wasn't so clingy, and I find that very, very disrespectful. I mean, they were best friends to begin with, Jake and Maddie, so I guess I can understand why it seems like she's being clingy, but like, that's his girlfriend. She's incorporated into his life now. You will have to get used to that. I know, you can do hard things, baby, come on. Anyways, because of her yelling at Maddie, she does get a scarlet bee, and she realizes that maybe she is the clinger in this trio. Sadie now has 4 teetering on 5 scarlet bees. Val stops Tam from going in at Ricky again, and she fires the new counselor for wearing hooker shoes. Honestly, Miss Girl could use a couple of those bees herself. Later at the 5K walk run, Jenna apologizes to Maddie for accusing him of trying to wreck her relationship. Soon though, Sadie congratulates him for successfully attempting to wreck this relationship, and he smiles and admits it. Electric chair. Trying to ruin the girl you allegedly love plus your best friend's relationship is diabolical. Lacey soon joins Jenna for the run walk as penance for her transgressions. She tells Jenna that Kevin left the house. The girls hold hands as they realize that Kevin will probably be gone for a lot longer than a few days. So we begin this episode with Jenna feeling really guilty for her parents' split. She feels bad for even bringing up the letter. And to this I say a massive F you to Lacey Hamilton. You put your child through all this stress because she was not cool enough for you. So it turns out they're at a mass, which her mom has guilted her into. After the service, she runs into Lissa, who invites her to a youth retreat. Lissa also calls her out in front of the whole church. She refers to her as the harlot who stole my BF. Okay. At school the next day, Jenna tells Tamara that she has decided to go to the retreat to hopefully find some guidance to her family situation. Do you see what happens when you don't provide a safe space for your children? The girls have a run-in with Kyle. This scene also provides us with some crazy thinking faces from Jenna. It's almost like she's breaking the fourth wall without trying to do it, and it's kind of disorienting. Later, Sadie continues to force Lissa to forgive her, blaming Jenna for Jake leaving her. Lissa tells her to quit it and that Jenna is begging for forgiveness by going to her church camp, and Lissa's looking forward to having a new bestie. At Val's office later, Jenna spills about her parents' split, and the first thing out of Val's mouth is,
Your dad's single?
She also warns her to be careful at the church camp. Now, during lunch, Maddie is in a funk over Jenna. Do I care? I can't say that I do. She soon comes over to sit with Maddie and Jake tries to make Maddie forget about this mystery girl by dissing her, calling her uncool for leading him on and ditching him for another guy. Jenna's now aware that the mystery girl is in fact her.
Tell him, she's a bitch, right?
She's a bitch.
She now feels bad for coming in between a friendship and a relationship, which she literally didn't. How do I forcibly add self-esteem to this character? So Jenna's off to church camp, but not before her mom can do a little more projecting onto her daughter.
But you don't know anybody. You're gonna be alone. You are not good at being alone. No, Mom, that would be you.
Jenna walks in this bus feeling hopeful, feeling excited, until she spots one Sadie Saxton. And she tries to get off the bus, but it's a bit too late. As soon as she gets to camp, she calls Tamara to come grab her because her mom isn't picking up. Now, Tamara can't because she's grounded for cussing out Ricky and getting those scarlet bees. Tam also thinks Kyle is outside her house, stalking her, as earlier in school, he was wearing a shirt that said one of her quotes, "Take it outside." She's also realized that he started a Take It Outside club, so she's freaked the fuck out. At the bunks later, Sadie tells Jenna to stay away from Lissa. Lissa sees this and makes her say sorry. Turns out Jenna is also sharing a bunk with Sadie. She immediately goes to the office to try to figure out how she's gonna get home because she's not staying here. She then runs into Clark, who's one of the boys that goes to her school, and he convinces her to stay and not let Sadie win. Jenna decides to stay, but she is not bunking with Sadie. Lacey, who is day drinking and feeling extra lonely, leaves Jenna a voicemail that she will come pick her up at whatever time she wants and that she'll stare at her phone until she answers her call. Now, Val and Lacey later end up being at the same bar and they end up dining alone together. At the church camp costume party, Clark helps Jenna avoid Sadie, and they actually have a really fun time together. Back at Tamara's, she's on a voice call with Kyle, and she tells him to stop stalking her. However, Tamara had left him 20 messages. He also denied the Take It Outside club having anything to do with her and hangs up. Now back at camp, Clark has to go off and do some chores, so unfortunately he does have to leave Jenna alone with Lissa and Sadie lurking in the back. All of a sudden, the lights go out and the kids form a share circle, which is basically a public confession session. When I was writing this up, I put, oh my god, look at me, rhyming like Tamara. The red dye is seeping into my brain. My hair is not red anymore, so I can't really say that. This share circle is on a different level.
I gave my ex countless rub and tugs. Actually, I did count, it was 47.
So Sadie sees Jenna and Lissa getting chummy, and she decides that she's going to call out Jenna's attempt, or her rumored attempt. Jenna fires back that she didn't and it was a rumor, and Sadie continues to gaslight gatekeep, which drives Jenna into an I love Satan meltdown. Val and Lacey are still dining alone together, but are now a couple wines deep. Lacey congratulates herself for dining alone because she never thought she could. Delusional. In fact, I'm gonna call these two women the Delulu dames because Val uses this as an excuse to ask her if she can date her husband. Lacey sobers up real quick. At camp, Lissa apologizes to Jenna for what happened in the prayer circle. Her and Jenna have a really cute tearjerker moment where they give each other advice. Soon, Jenna's mom arrives to take her home. At school after the weekend, Tam gives Kyle and his bandits a massive binder filled with photos of her because she says that if they're gonna stalk her, if they're gonna creep around, they might as well use good photos of her. Kyle cuts her off to tell her that the club is actually for lonely kids who spend too much time on their computers and not enough time outside.
You should join.
Ate her the fuck up. Lissa also forgives Sadie, and Maddie apologizes to Jenna. Everybody makes up. The episode ends as Maddie does his signature armpit sniff when a gorgeous girl walks past. Somebody's jealous. So it is Valentine's Day at Palos Hills High, and Jenna has her first ever Valentine. So Maddie asked Jenna about what she would recommend, any good restaurants, any good tips to, make Valentine's special for a girl. And Jenna thinks that Jake sent Maddie over to find out what she wants. So she literally detailed out her dream Valentine's date, down to the restaurant, down to the time. Jake is informing Jenna of the evenings of Valentine's planned, but she is too distracted by Maddie talking to this new girl. Jake drops this horrific line.
He's about to hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
And he ends up by saying that Valentine's days are too sappy for Maddie, and he doesn't do that. Sadie, on the other hand, hates the Valentine spirit as she sneers at everybody walking by. Lissa asks her to hang out and watch movies as it is their Valentine's Day tradition, but Sadie says she'd rather just stay home. But you can't watch movies with Lissa there. Tamara's upset that her and Ming will be, and I quote, planted in front of the DVR doing shots of cyanide with you. Referring to Ming, while Jenna will be on a date. It's never that serious. It's really not. Buy some chocolates, get some flowers, put a cute movie on. You're set. I know y'all be drinking. Get some wine. You're good. Ming has to burst her bubble because she was actually invited to the seemingly annual Black Hearts party for bitter singles. Ming doesn't want Tamara to go because Booty Shorts will likely be there. Now Tia has a meltdown while Jenna starts to freak out over the girl that Maddie is seeing. Why are you doing that? You have a man, girl. Focus, eyes on the prize. Now, during counseling later, and side note, Valerie is the new vice principal, but I will still be calling these counseling sessions because it's essentially the same thing as last season when she was just counselor. It's clear that Jenna is jealous of this new girl. Val doesn't offer her much guidance and just gives her some hard candies. Chill out. So later that day, Kevin drops Jenna off at home after school and she encourages him to go on a date with Lacey, to which he says no to. And you know, Lacey's there, so she obviously gets really disappointed and sad. Lacey puts on a brave face and her and Kevin share some niceties. That evening, Jenna and Jake go on to her dream restaurant that she was telling Maddie about earlier, and surprise, surprise, Maddie's sitting there on a date with this new girl. Jenna, the mistakes that you make. I was mocking Jake earlier for not having this planned beforehand, but he clearly did, because Maddie was asking about him. He wasn't asking for Jake, so props to Jake. Jenna needs to have more faith in her man. Jenna is such a fucking pick-me in this scene. She has been a pick-me. She will continue to be a pick-me.
And good thing I dumped her date or her ass would have been firmly planted on her couch. Alone.
She thinks this whole thing was set up by Maddie so that he could make her jealous, and I completely understand why, but like, your best bet is to ignore him and just enjoy your date. Hello, it's Valentine's Day. Happens once a year. Hello. This accidental double date is so awkward. Jenna's pissed, and Jake hates that they don't have any more privacy because he specifically requested it beforehand. Meanwhile, Maddie and the other girl are living it up. So Tamara did end up going to the Black Hearts party that night, and once again, she lets Ricky ruin her night. Back with these four, and Jenna's picking at her plate because there's something in it that she doesn't like. Jake's like, oh, we could just send it back. Then Maddie decides to stick his shit in Jenna's plate and just take her food. You cannot tell me this man isn't doing this shit on purpose. Turns out Jenna's allergic to it and Jake didn't know. This date is so awkward and they all keep interfering with each other's shit. And at this date, I really don't understand how Jake didn't pick up on the fact that Jenna and Maddie had, like, how did he know her allergy? They're not that close. Think. Back at the party, Tamara is trying to make Ricky jealous and Ming runs into this guy, Fred Wu, who she's immediately in awe of. Maddie and Jake are having a really heated sports-related argument and Jenna realizes that the boys are being so stupid. Jenna's just happy that Jake will hold her hand in public. Then she sees Maddie holding the girl's hand, and she finally admits to herself that she is jealous. She goes to the corner and tearfully leaves Tamara a voicemail about how much Maddie being with someone else is still affecting her. Mid-rant, Maddie comes in to put some ice on her head as she previously hit her head on the table while she was trying to avoid Maddie or whatever the hell she was trying to do earlier. While talking with Maddie, she realizes that he really is just not trying to screw things up with his new girl, like he did with her, or so he says. At the party, Tam gives up trying to make Booty Shorts jealous. Ming makes out with Fred Wu. Tam then goes to the bathroom and her heart breaks when she sees Ricky making out with Sadie Saxton. Girl, give this shit up. Give it up. Na, 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 na. She then pees herself, then legs it out of there. While dropping Jenna off at home, Jake drops an I love you bomb and Jenna says, awesome. What, girl? Honestly, understandable. Jenna gets back home and finds Tamara in her bed crying over Ricky and gives her some really good advice, and the episode ends with them cracking up. You know I love to crack up. I don't want to be in any situation for one moment where I'm not cracking up. So it's nighttime and Jenna can't sleep because she couldn't tell Jake that she loved him back. Mind you, Jake told her he loved her 6 weeks in, so that man could really back up a little. Allie comes over, engaged and dressed like a Temu Lily Vanderwoodson. Lily Vanderwoodson off Wish head ass.
Don't judge, little bitch. Be grateful that your future uncle-in-law can afford to surgically pack your cans since nature's not going to.
At school the next day, one, we find out that everyone's making fun of Tamara because she peed herself and everyone found out, and two, Jenna is not in love with Jake yet. At the sanctuary, Sadie and Booty are hooking up and he is in love with her. At Palos Hills, it's Black History Month.
We have a very special history lesson brought to you via recording from our very own, very white history teacher, Mr. Samuel Wallman.
Jake tells Maddie what happened with Jenna, and he says this.
You can't say I love you before you have sex.
On the other hand, though, Jake just thinks that he freaked Jenna out. Maddie says you have to view hooking up with a girl as sort of like dangling a carrot to get the I love you out. Dog. Jenna also realizes that she had feelings for Maddie after they hook up, and Tamara convinces Jenna to do that with Jake. Jenna meets up with Jake and tells him,
I think we should have sex.
Announcing it to the entire school.
Apparently, Jenna Hamilton can't live without Jake's man juice.
The whole school's laughing at her, and Maddie tries to come to her rescue. He does end up talking to her and sort of trying to give her advice about hooking up with Jake. Ricky comes up to Sadie and she stealthily tells him to F off. She decides they'll have a parting hookup after school. At counseling later, Val breaks boundaries as per usual. She calls Jenna a perv and leaves her with the message that she will be at her house later because she's hanging out with her mother. Jake ends up agreeing to Jenna's proposition. They decide to do it after school, and Jenna is no longer nervous, potentially because Jake said that he only needs 2 minutes. After school, Ricky says that he quit band just so that he could be with Sadie. And later after school, Jenna and Jake are like, okay, we're about to do this. They go back to Jenna's house, but their plans are foiled because they see all 3 women there, Allie, Lacey, and Val. Sadie shows up because she is Allie's new niece, so she's kind of part of the family now. During this discussion, Jenna learns that Kevin was not her mom's first. Lacey has a breakdown because she's scared that Kevin will never come back home. Sadie finally leaves and she goes off to meet Booty and tells him that she might actually like him, and the impending doom for Tamara is making me so nervous. Later, Lacey apologizes for embarrassing Jenna earlier, and she gives her good advice regarding her situation, and she decides to do it with Jake. He sets up a cute little bed in his mom's minivan, and he gives her this really cute speech, and Jenna realizes that she is in fact in love. So the episode begins as the girls are wedding dress shopping for Allie's wedding, and she soon gives all the bridesmaids their bridesmaids dresses, but unfortunately Jenna's is very different. It is very pink, very poofy, and this dress is set up to be ugly, but I like it. I think it could be saved. Just make the neckline straight, get rid of the poofy sleeves, use it as a scrunchie or something. I feel like it could be salvaged, but Allie probably wouldn't have allowed that, and honestly I don't think Jenna looks that bad. She just really stands out because obviously her dress is different. Jenna has the massive box of condoms for her hookup with Jake that night. Also, it's Allie's wedding day. Lacey gets told by Allie that Kevin will not be coming to the wedding, leading to a little meltdown. Now, as soon as Allie tells her, but wait, Ben is coming, she perks up a little. Her tears suddenly wipe away. Who the hell is Ben? Ben is an old love of Lacey's, and he's coming to the wedding, and unfortunately, her mom looks keen. Allie's big day is kind of going into disarray, and Tam volunteers to help the wedding planner after her assistant quit. Allie blames Jenna for ruining the wedding and says that she ruined her life the day she was born. And Lacey's just there like, So, thankfully, Jenna decides to quit and hang out with Jake instead. I love Jenna's line delivery here.
Who the hell is Ben?
Her and Tamara decide to go through her mom's old pictures, and she finds photos of them from when they were younger. All of a sudden, Ben arrives at the house and he is set up to be fine, but I do not like this man's face. Jenna decides to cock block, but to no avail, so she decides she's back in the wedding. She needs to be there so she can run her shenanigans in person. The girls realize that Ben is Lacey's Maddie, and Jenna immediately calls her dad to get there ASAP. Then Allie's friend goes into labor. On the way to the wedding, Sadie drops this line,
What you have to have is a detox from the crack pipe. No one...
Val is thankfully able to fill the hole left in the bridal party due to the lady giving birth. Jenna also asks Val to distract Ben so her mom doesn't do anything with him. Val agrees, even though she has a man with the guarantee that she will get a feral cat out of it. Now, Sadie's upset because Allie wants a bridesmaid's hair to be in 2 little low buns. Sadie doesn't want to do that, so she goes to have a little chat with Allie, and Allie goes berserk.
I'm not gonna succumb to some fucktastic figure skater style because you...
First thing she's done where I haven't been like, I want to throw up. Jenna soon finds out that Kevin called Lacey about an emergency, so she has to tell her mom that the phone call was actually about getting her dad there because of Ben. Maddie soon shows up to drop off his suit because Jake is borrowing it for the wedding. This is when Jenna finds out that Maddie is dating a girl named Courtney. Before Maddie leaves though, Jenna tells him that hearing about his lovers still stings for her too. and it sort of gave them both closure. Side note, everybody keeps calling Jenna flower bitch in this episode, including her own mother, and nobody bats an eye. Flower bitch because she's the, what do you call it, the flower girl? Really? So Ben is still flirting with Lacey and she's eating right out of his palm. And Jenna's trying to keep them as far away from each other as possible. Soon, Tam tells Jenna that they have to leave now because she is under so much pressure with the job, also with Sadie and Ricky making out right in front of her. Jenna later decides to talk to Sadie about how Ricky is a slut and will cheat on her. Elsewhere, Val is trying to distract Ben, which is really hard for her because she isn't attracted to him. Meanwhile, Sadie grills Booty about the girls that he's cheated on. He reveals that he's cheated on every single one of his girlfriends. But she stays when he tells her that he loves her. Yikes. Tam hears this and wants to leave, but Jake decides that he's going to put a stop to Sadie's antics. Elsewhere, Jenna tells Ben to stay away from her mom, and he thankfully agrees. Jake goes on to confront Sadie, and Jenna sees this and she's like, I am in love with this man. She decides it's time to drop the L-bomb because he's busy going off at Sadie, of course. She decides to leave him a voicemail. Sadie claps back. He calls her a bitch. Sadie essentially tells Jake that he has been a fool this whole time. Your best friend was dating your girlfriend. She's been this mystery girl the whole time. Jake finally connects the dots right as she's telling him that she loves him. To be continued. So that was the first part of Awkward Season 2. There's 4 episodes left of the season. Where is this girl gonna end up? Heartbroken for sure. I don't know whether Jake is going to break up with her for this reason. I have a feeling that he won't. I have watched the show many times, but I promise you I don't remember what happens. Like, I know Jenna gets with this person, that person, this person, break up, get back together, but I don't remember in which order it goes. So I'm real excited to see where things go. I'm glad that Jenna's finally speaking up for herself. She's not taking shit as much as she was before, but obviously she still has a long way to go. I'm really curious to see how the mafia treats Ming for the rest of the season, and I'm also really curious as to what Kevin decides to do regarding his marriage to Lacey. So that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to follow me on my social medias, it will be at the end of the video and in the description below. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? Like the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!